Let me just ask you, you're the perfect person to ask about the genius of Quentin Tarantino. What makes him special? As a director, as a creative mind, what do you see in him that's beautiful, that's brilliant?
He just, since I met him, he was just like this brilliant ball of energy. And like if you see him, I walk around his house and I'll see like a few sheets of paper all handwritten out. I'm like, what's that? And he goes, oh, that was something I was starting to write, and not gonna finish it. I'm like, can I take these
Yeah.
and go turn it into like
Yeah.
a whole trilogy of films? Like what he throws away, all us mortal men would kill for. You meet people like that. I tell people, your parents say, watch out who your peers are. When you're younger, that means one thing, but once you get older, surround yourself around people who swing much farther than you. That's just like, but that's really true. I mean, just by being around him and working with him, you get by osmosis, you learn stuff. And it just ups your game because they're just swing way beyond you. Jim Cameron was like that. So like when I first met him, I was trying to impress the hell out of him, because I was such a big fan. I was about to go do Desperado and I went, hey, I just took a 3-day Steadicam course because I can't afford a Steadicam operator. So I'm going to operate Steadicam myself on Desperado. Now, if he was just my peer, he'd say, oh, I did the same thing. And I'm going to do the same thing. That would be like hanging out with somebody of your ilk. But you want somebody who's above that. You know what he said? He goes, I bought a Steadicam, but not to operate it. I'm going to take it apart and design a better one. It's like us mere mortals trying to learn how to operate the camera. He's designing all new systems. That's the guy you want to hang out with, not someone who's doing what you're doing. So surround yourself by those kind of people. And that's when you learn things like don't blink, like somebody who's like really swinging for the fences and accomplishing so much. And Quentin was like that. So I met him at the festivals. He saw Mariachi. He loved it. We came up, we talked, and he said, you're gonna like my next film I'm writing right now, Pulp Fiction. So I thought, man, I'm going to put this guy. He's so fun. I'm going to write him in my Desperado script, which I was writing.
Mhm.
So that was before Pulp Fiction and all that. When I had cast him, I didn't know he was going to go become such a household name. I just was drawn to his energy, and I'd already written him in. And I met Steve Buscemi there, and I was like, I'm writing a character for Steve Buscemi. But then I went back to the Sony lot where I was working on Desperado, and Quentin and I ended up having offices right next to each other on the Sony lot by accident. I didn't even know that. I just met him, and I go back, and he was, because originally Pulp Fiction was for TriStar, because Danny DeVito was a producer, and he was going to make it for TriStar. So he was there writing Pulp Fiction, and I was writing Desperado. So I'd go show him like storyboards from Desperado, and he'd come act out scenes of Pulp Fiction, and we got to be really good friends that way. We'd go eat lunch at Versailles across the street, the Sony lot, and then Sony passed on Pulp Fiction. It's too weird, it's too long. $8 million movie or 7 million. They're like, we're going to go make the next Pauly Shore movie instead. Like we don't understand this thing. And Miramax got it. And they'd just been bought by Disney. So they produced their first film was Pulp Fiction. And so, and then that thing went to Cannes and it was a whole thing. But what I loved about his story is that when he made Pulp Fiction, he had a director's screening. He showed it to some directors, and I wasn't able to go. But anyway, I had dinner with him once, and it was in my journal because I keep a journal. At 2:40 a.m., when after I dropped him off at his house, I said, "Oh wait, how did your movie come out?" Pulp Fiction. He had just finished it, and he went, "Nah, it still feels like a movie Quentin would make. Doesn't feel like a real movie." And I was like, "But that's fine. What do you mean? What does it mean? It feels like one of those movies I would make, like Reservoir Dogs. It doesn't feel like a real movie." And I was trying to be the supportive friend going, oh man, he was so excited about this movie. Now he's bummed about it. And I was like, well, it should be different. It should be like, he's like, wouldn't have it. Drove off. So I thought, I guess that wasn't the one. So I went home and I called some of the directors that were at the screening. And they go, yeah, this isn't the one for him. It's not. None of them saw it. None of them saw it. But I know you're like surprised.
Yeah.
But that happened with George Lucas too, with Star Wars. Everybody saw that movie and was like, poor George. They showed it to all his director friends. Poor George, what did he waste all this time with this for? Only Spielberg was the one who said, it's naive and it's going to do really good because it's naive and kids will like it. But everyone else was like, what's he doing? We're artists. We're making art film. What's he doing this garbage for? Because nobody knows. It shows no one knows anything, not even the filmmaker. When you're being groundbreaking, you don't know what groundbreaking is. Not you or anyone around you, except maybe one or two people. So he said, there was one person. Like, oh yeah, who is your Spielberg? He goes, Catherine Bigelow. Without a doubt. She's the only one who said, there's something here. No one else was saying that. He said, in fact, because he remembered suddenly, he'd forgotten the story. But if it wasn't in my journal, I would have forgot it too. He goes, in fact, one of my friends even said, I want to sit you down and tell you all the things that are wrong with your movie, but I'll wait till you get back from the Cannes Film Festival. And he goes and he wins the Palme d'Or. And then his friend's like, oh, what the hell do I know? I've only made one movie myself. So never mind. I guess we're all wrong. So even he didn't expect that at all. So that was a shock, even to him. So think about that.
Yeah.
That means, what do? Commit to a body of work. Just do that. You don't know. You don't know what's going to be a Pulp Fiction, what's going to be a Jackie Brown, what's going to be, you don't know. And you like to think they know, but they don't know either. They feel it. Like I asked Jim Cameron, I said, do you see your movie really clearly? Like, can you see it like with hyper focus? Because it seems like that. And he goes, it's like really far. It's out of focus. And you work on it, it starts coming. I said, oh, okay, good. So that's normal. I thought maybe he had laser vision or something, but no, even him, he doesn't really know, but he feels and he can make decisions and he understands what a creative drive is and how to just keep being relentless about it. But it's not like they have all the proximity is huge. Proximity will change your life. Did for me. Just being around those guys. They didn't teach me, hey, I'm going to teach you how to make a movie. Just being next to them, being in their world just ups your game. And you're able to do things you weren't able to do before. You get ideas you didn't get to do before.